Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Hello friends, and welcome to Fairfield Today. I'm your host, Paul Jasson. Thank you for joining us. It's another beautiful day as we begin our telecast downtown here at Fairfield. We look outside the window here and it's a beautiful sunny day. As we move into football time, it's high school football time, it's college football time, just about the best time. Fall, the fair is coming up here in a couple of months, so geez, a lot of good things happening here in Lancaster and Fairfield County. It's an exciting time to be around, and we've got a couple of good folks to talk to today. We're going to talk about one of the programs I feel very strongly about, the West After School program. We'll talk about Michelle Richland in a few minutes about that and how that's really started out in the West Side, and now it's just in every school has that going on, so we'll talk to Michelle about that. But now it's a lot of fun to have back on. Last time I had him on, he had a different job. He sort of changed jobs. Scott Burry, who last time I had him on, and we've had him on a couple times, was the junior high principal at General Sherman Junior High School. Again, one of my favorite places, and I know one of Scott Burry's favorite places, as he attended that also. But now the most recent Lancaster High School principal. Scott, congratulations.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm sure it's a big honor to. I've often thought I'm fortunate to, again, having grown up here and able to, make a living in the community, and I would think that would be especially interesting for somebody like you who has grown up in this school system, and now to be certainly to be General Sherman's principal, but now to be the Lancaster High School principal. That's going to be a pretty good feeling.
Well, Paul, I spent 21 years at General Sherman, total of 21 years, 2 as a student, 19 as a teacher, coach, 2 as assistant principal, and the last 7 as principal. So it's a place that, I've called home. It's become a second family. It's a great place, special place. There's a lot of pride in the west side of town, that community, what I call the General Sherman community. A lot of pride, and we made a lot of special connections over there. I'm going to miss that place, but I've had the opportunity to take a new role at Lancaster High School, and that's something that really excites me.
I thought the next time I would have you on, I was going to be able to talk to you about, General Sherman's got a new location, you're going to be the first principal at the new place, and all that's still going to take place, but just you won't be there. So now it's just a couple of weeks ago, it's announced that General Sherman now has a location out a little north of town, out at Election House. Ewing has a place over off of Sheridan Drive. Sherman's got a place. Lancaster City Schools moving pretty strong.
Oh, it's exciting. I was lucky to take part in a year or so planning for the new building. Plans look great. We've got a good plan. We got a site. So it's exciting. There's some good things coming, and with the 5 elementaries now up and rolling, and the 2 junior highs, and moving on in the planning stages, and we can hope that high school is coming in the future.
Well, I guess that would be something to think about, and I'm sure it is down the future. There will be a lot of money issues, a lot of location things, because we know Ewing will be closing up, at least the Ewing we know of as now, right on the edge of the high school lane right there. That'll be closing down. There'll be some movement there. You've got the football field all out there. But again, kind of right on the cutting edge, the cusp of a lot going on as you take over. School opened last week, so it's just an exciting time to be in the Lancaster City Schools.
It is, and I feel very fortunate to be able to have this role and have this job, and at this time in Lancaster, and I'm firmly committed to the kids, to community of Lancaster, we're about a couple things at Lancaster High School. We want to provide our students the very best postgraduate opportunities, whether they're career or college-wise, college or career-wise, while giving them top-notch extracurricular activities, and while fostering respectful citizens in the community. And that's kind of our mission statement in Lancaster High School. It's what I believe in, what we believe in, and that's kind of how we hope to carry out that vision to make a difference in the community in Lancaster.
Speaking with Scott Burry, Scott is the newly named, just a few weeks ago, principal at Lancaster High School. And I know when I was in, and that's been 100 years ago, I get that. I'll say that before you do. When I was at Lancaster High School, and I would even think when you went there, much of the emphasis was on college. If you weren't in the track that was going to take you down the college path, it was a different feeling if you were in vocational, although they certainly had gotten the vocational out there when you were in, they had the vocational stuff. But as you indicated now, there are lots of other quality ways to graduate from Lancaster High School without being in that high school track. Certainly a lot of jobs out there that you'll prepare young people for in the Lancaster City schools.
First of all, we're lucky to be a comprehensive high school, to have vocational opportunities right on our campus between Lancaster High School and Stanberry's campus. We don't have to ship our kids off to a career center.
Right.
So we have that opportunity. We also have several opportunities for kids to take the college route to high school. We have our college prep, we have our STEM and Project Lead the Way,
Right.
we have our dual enrollment, we have College Credit Plus. We have students graduating from Lancaster High School that are ready to be sophomores in college.
I've seen some of that. Some of our grandkids have been involved in that. It's remarkable what they can do and still be at Lancaster.
If students take advantage of it, there are so many opportunities at Lancaster High School for them to be successful throughout their life. And one thing that really excited me coming from General Sherman to Lancaster High School, you have a middle school and you really don't have all the different avenues these kids can get to. At Lancaster High School, there's several pathways, one to graduation, and several pathways to for college-wise for success in that way.
Now, I know it's changed over the years when before Stanberry, then Stanberry, now without Stanberry, and we just have the junior highs and the high school. So the junior highs now are 6, 7, and 8, and your school, Lancaster High School, is now 9, 10, 11, and 12. So how many students now are attending Lancaster High School? Do you have a number?
We have about 1,800. About 1,800 students, which is lately it's that number's up.
Okay. What's a graduating class look like? 300-400?
We're over 400.
400.
We like to be over 400. We have I know we have an incoming class at General Sherman of 250 kids of sixth graders, which I know Mr. Poston has the same at Ewing. So we're looking at about 500 sixth graders. I know our elementary numbers are up, so we're looking to, we'd like to have, around 450 kids graduate. We kind of fluctuate in between 4 and 450. We don't want to dip under 4. That's kind of our goal.
Now, as the new principal there, do you come in with the mindset, well, we'll make a lot of changes, I won't make many changes, I'll just plug into what Mr. Greathouse had done there before me, and we'll kind of look at it, or have you got a game plan put together yet?
Well, first of all, Mr. Greathouse, Coach Greathouse, is, we have a long history.
Yes.
Played for him in high school. I
Yes.
coached for him.
Yes.
He's been a mentor and good friend of mine over the years. And I always thought one day I would follow in his shoes as the head basketball coach. And funny how things work out. Now I'm following his footsteps as the head principal of Lancaster High School. So, Lancaster High School's got great things going on. By no means is it broken in any way. There aren't major changes to be made. We just want to come in and create a great culture for our kids, for our staff, for our parents. For Lancaster. That's kind of our goal, is to really make sure that we instill some Gale pride in the building, in our people, and create a great culture, because Lancaster High School is doing great things, have been doing great things. Jack led them into great things, and I just want to continue on that and provide opportunities for our kids that the best that we can.
I've had Superintendent Steve Wigton on here, and of course he was a coach of yours, a good friend of yours, a mentor to you for many years, and now as the superintendent. And I think one thing he talks about whenever we have him on, and usually we're talking about This is back when the levy was running, when the levy passed and the things. But I think one of the things that he always talked about is they always try to be good stewards of the resources that are given them by the voters, because they know that's a real commitment. People have said, we'll give you the money, but we want to see good things come from that. I know you feel that same way. At Lancaster High School, you hold your teachers and your students to a high level to say, we're Lancaster, we need to do a good job.
You know, when we're able to build 2 new junior highs without additional tax money, that goes to show how responsible that we've been, and obviously Mr. Wigton's been the leader of that capacity. And you have to make tough decisions sometimes, that have financial impact. And he's been very good at leading us in that manner, making sure that we are using our resources appropriately. And as you can tell, with again 5 new elementaries and 2 new junior highs, I think we've done a pretty good job.
And we've only got a couple minutes left. I want to give a good plug. Who are your assistants this year? Who do you have brand new onto your staff that you'll be leading?
Well, we've kind of made some shifts. We have 2 associate principals. That would be Steve Spangler, who was a dean, a former dean previously, was also a dean of mine at General Sherman for 3 years. And then we have Anthony Knickerbocker, who oversees our career tech. Now we have 3 assistant principals. John Spires has been there the last 2 years. We've brought Andy Smeltzer back, who was there previously, and then
he's been at North or Mount Pleasant.
The principal of Mount Pleasant.
Yep.
And we do have a new hire this year, is Andy Knuckles.
Okay.
Was a phys ed teacher in my building and one of our varsity football coaches. So he's made the jump in administration. We're excited to have him. So we've really put together a good team, as well as Dennis Love as our special ed supervisor and Pam Boston in athletics. And we just had a get together Sunday night at my house, trying to get ready and make sure we're kicking the school year off on the right foot.
Well, it's underway. It's going to be a fun year to watch and see how things go at Lancaster. But what I'm hearing from you, I think, is a very strong General Sherman connection with the high school. It's intentionally.
It's good that I should know half the kids at Lancaster High School. That could be good or bad.
And I'm sure some of those kids, I had him for 3 years at Sherman, and now I've got him, they'll say 6 years under Mr. Burry.
It's the parents that I've talked to. A couple of them, we said, we've had 10 years together. Three kids have come through Sherman. Their last one's left, and I said, well, we got 4 more. So it's good that we know, that I know. When you're principal of a high school, it's hard to really get to know the parents. The higher you get in grades, the less the parents are in the building. But I'll know quite a few parents as well come from General Sherman, and I do know quite a few kids from Thomas Ewing, who's closely we worked with Mr. Poston, who's doing a great job at Thomas Ewing, and it's exciting to see what these kids I've seen as some 6th graders grow up to graduate and go on to do great things.
Well, it's going to be a fun year at Lancaster High School, and Scott Burry, the principal out there, we know you're going to do a great job. Congratulations on getting this. We think the superintendent and the board made the right call here. It's fun to see, a General Sherman kid move into that position. We like that very much. So best of luck at Lancaster High School with the administration, with the teachers, with the young people that you're going to turn out to do great things. And that's really what it's all about at Lancaster. And we know that. So we know you'll keep that going very well.
Thank you,
we'll
Paul.
have you back. It's always fun to talk.
Always.
We'll have you back and talk about some more good things at Lancaster High School. Good deal?
All right. Sounds good.
We'll be back on Fairfield Today in just a moment. Welcome back to Fairfield Today. I'm your host, Paul Jasson. Nice to have you here with us. Thanks, Scott Burry, for stopping by. Again, we'll talk about the West After School programs in Lancaster and what's going on there with Michelle Richland in just a moment. I want to mention the good folks here at Fairfield Federal. And again, I'd encourage you to go to fairfieldfederal.com if you have personal money interests that you'd like to see what a bank could do if you're not at Fairfield Federal. They have business, they have internet banking. All that is available just by going to fairfieldfederal.com. Again, it's a very comprehensive website. They have links to, again, personal, business, internet, things that you would want to know, any of those areas that if that pops up to you, they hit a hot button with you. and you can give somebody, they have the names of the folks here, Judy and Bruce and everybody here, you can give them a call at Fairfield Federal, and they can answer many of your questions right on the website. And to get a good start, a good launch into that money questions you might have as we move into the kind of the end of summer, into the fall time of the year. If you're still looking to maybe do a little remodeling, doing a little adding on before it gets too bad, need to do some things around the house, FairfieldFederal.com is a good place to start. Local people making all the local decisions right here. And again, the aforementioned Michelle Richland. Michelle, thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here, Paul.
Nice to have you here. Michelle, we want to get this title right now. She is the Executive Director of the West After School Programs of Lancaster.
Just After School Programs of Lancaster.
Okay, after school, not
Right.
West.
Right,
Okay,
not,
after school.
not just West any longer.
Because I think the last time I talked with you, and so many previous times we talked, it was the West After School
Correct.
Program. Now it's the After School Programs,
Right.
because this program has really grown and evolved.
Yes, it has. Yes, it's certainly started on the west side in the basement of the 6th Avenue Church over there. And with the principals and teachers over at West School, they decided there was a real need on that side of town specifically. And luckily, we've been able to grow with the help of federal 21st Century grants and with the partnership with Lancaster City Schools. So we are now in all the schools. So we kind of thought we should drop just the West because people thought, that was our only location. So
one of the things that I've noticed, and again, that the church right there, 6th Avenue, where it did begin, is the church that I attend, and again, that West School that's no longer there, but is there, but no longer there. And your office is right across the street right there on Garfield. I see all the signs out for lunch programs, and that's turned into really a big deal for your whole community.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there again, we're not just on the west side. We are at 7 locations throughout the city as well. A couple of schools, but we try to hit all the neighborhoods. But yeah, it started there. The lunch program is the only summer. The summer program that we run. We don't do summer child care anymore, but our summer lunch program, we employ about 30 people, 4 cooks, and about maybe 20, 25 people to man each site. And we served we don't have the numbers yet from the summer, just ended a couple weeks ago, but last summer we served over 16,000 lunches and did that from 2 kitchens and 4 cooks. So
is that up? I've got to believe every year it goes up to some degree.
Honestly, it's been a little bit down actually because of the sites moving. We've had to move the sites with the schools moving, and so people aren't, familiar. Like East School was always a wonderful site. We do over 120 lunches there. Well, East School is obviously no longer, owned by the schools, so we had to find a new place. We went across the street to St. Paul's church there across the street, and just getting the people to move from there to St. Paul's was a little bit of a challenge. You don't have the pleasure of the playground right there and everything too, that is also a draw for the students. So because we have had to move locations in the last couple years, it takes a little while for those new locations to get established. So it's probably down a little bit.
When and as the new schools open up, is your intent to try to be within those schools again to run your programs?
Absolutely. So the school year programs, absolutely. The school, the after school programs and the child care programs are in all 5 elementary schools. So absolutely.
Let's talk about that child care. That's turned to, again, summer lunches. Again, when this started out, it was just really tutoring in the schools, and that kind of evolved into, you've got a building now, but now you'll do some work over there, and we'll have kids in after school. And I remember Len and Rosemary Hajos were so involved in the early years, and I think Rosemary's probably still on the board.
Absolutely.
And is
very
such
active.
a wonderful person in the community. But now, again, the free summer lunch programs have gone on, and now child care once school has started. Big part of what you do is child care.
It is. It absolutely is, yes. Because being a nonprofit, we operate mostly on federal grants, but it's very competitive. It's a competitive process. So we can't always rely on those grants. So that's where we established child care sites at all the elementary schools to help fund. They are actually self-funded through either self-pay parents or through subsidized child care with the Title 20 funds. So that's a huge part of our budget now. Absolutely, yes.
Now, did I read where there are after-school programs? Again, this is late August, coming up here shortly in September as we move into the school year. Were they at Talmadge, Sherman Ewing?
Correct. That's exactly right. Yes. So last year we had a program at Mount Pleasant. It was on a cycle. All these federal programs are on a cycle, and that has cycled out. and we did not get refunded for that site.
Okay.
So yes, we will start in September, mid to late September, enrolling children for the junior high programs, and Talmadge are the only ones that will have that free programming with the math and the reading and the adult and parent engagement, family engagement, social emotional services as well. So when we have a grant, we can employ a lot more people and we can enroll a lot more children, probably about 50 or 60 kids at the elementary, and then between the two junior highs, probably another 50 or 60. Last year, among all the after school programs and all the child care programs, we serviced about 366 children last year. So we're hoping that number can stay up there, even though we are down one grant. So.
Well, and what does that look like when we go to Talmadge or Sherman Ewing? What does after school look at? What time does it start, and what actually goes on?
Sure, yeah. It's a wonderful time for the kids. So especially, so we'll go with elementary. They get out of school at 3:30.
Right.
We pick up the kids. They come to the gym.
Immediately
after school.
Okay.
We are there. We are physically in all the schools. So there's no transportation. They come right to the gymnasium at 3:30 right after school. Check in, so we have attendance, so we know, if we've got
Sure.
everyone. Make sure everyone's
Sure.
safe. Then we go outside and play for a while, because they need some time to unwind and separate
Sure.
the school day from after school, because it is a little different. So we go out and play, and then we bring them in. We have a little snack with the kids, give them a little nutrition, to get ready to sit down and do some homework, do some good work. So from about 4 to 5:30 is when we're doing homework help, math, and reading help. We have tutors that come in and help with that as well. We do a lot of computer-based things now, because most of the things that the school does are computer-based. So we try to, we certainly focus on the children that are working below grade level. And we want to we get these extra hours, to bring them up, these hours of intervention to bring them up to the grade level that they're supposed to be working at. So they get a lot of that extra time, especially if we can. We don't have necessarily one-on-one tutoring, but when we do bring in our volunteers, that does help. If we do have a child that's struggling in one concept or something, we can bring in we've got a lot of volunteers that'll come in and work one-on-one with some kids. We can't do that every day. I can't even promise that homework is absolutely completed every day.
Sure.
Kids can be challenging,
So the staff there is a mix of people that if you get all the grants and everything's working out, of paid people
Absolutely.
and volunteers.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's who we could expect to see at these schools.
Yes. Our staff is usually a site director and about 4 or 5, maybe more staff members to run each group. And so the kids they do rotations between homework, math, and reading. So they rotate among those 3 different centers is what we call them,
Sure.
And it's a little different. We try to be a little more relaxed, than school, because they've been sitting in a classroom for 6 or 7 hours, So we do try to mix it up a little bit. When we're doing math, we try to do some games with math, so they're not always aware that they're learning.
Not quite as dry.
Exactly. Yeah. And also because maybe what's being done during the school day isn't working for these children, So we try to do a different approach sometimes, Same concepts, but different approach to looking at, multiplication. It's always those basic facts that kids struggle with. Reading, fluency is always a big challenge. Retention, and knowing what you're reading, So we try to work certainly on those things, but maybe in just a little bit different atmosphere, or maybe a different approach.
Speaking with Michelle Richland. Michelle is the executive director of the after-school programs of Lancaster. And how are these young people identified to you? Are these, again, you mentioned the word underachieving kids that might need a little bit of extra help. Are they identified by the schools as somebody that could benefit, and then some contact is made between maybe your office or your group and the parents, or how are these people kind of talked into this?
You could run a site. You know exactly what it entails. Yes,
Well, very good.
That's exactly right. So typically the teacher, we'll send out a letter to all the teachers in the school and saying, we have a program here to help kids that are underachieving, below grade level math and reading specifically is
Now this goes out to the children that perhaps are your target, or all kids?
Oh, so we send a letter to all the teachers.
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, to all the
Okay.
teachers saying, if you have, can you give us names of children that,
Right.
we usually wait about a month or so into school, so teachers get a feel, for who
better handle.
exactly.
Sure.
So we talk to the teachers, and then they give us input, saying, here's 5 children that really could benefit from your program, and then we'll send a letter home. contact the parents and say, your child's been selected for some extra help. Sometimes we say a scholarship to the after-school program.
Sure.
For extra help, math, reading, homework. And it's usually a very positive response from the parents. So yeah, that's exactly how it works. You got it.
So you pick up the young people from the school, take them to the site if it's a different site?
No, they are there. Every site is. So when we have a grant, that grant is written for just that school.
Okay.
So the grant we wrote for Talmadge is just for the kids that go to Talmadge.
So then at the
there's no
end, the parents
transportation.
come and pick them
Correct.
up. That's normal. It's just
Yes.
not at 3:30. It's at
Right. 6
whatever
o'clock.
time it's over.
5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Yep.
And so then your job, part of that would be to look for the volunteers or to find people, not only among the paid staff, but volunteers.
Sure.
And how many are typically in, maybe they differ between a grade school and a Talmadge or a Sherman and a Ewing,
Sure.
but you have a certain number of people you like to have staff a building?
As far when we have a grant, absolutely. 5 to 6
Okay.
is about a perfect number of staff members, and then of course we accompany that with maybe it depends daily. People can sign up for different days to volunteer. We ask for an hour a week. So we'll sometimes maybe one day we might not have any volunteers, which is okay, or some days we might have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So that range is in there. We typically have about with all of our centers, among all of our centers, about 20 to 25 volunteers every year.
So if somebody wants to volunteer, and again, it's very rewarding. I remember doing it many years ago. I just went to West School and helped tutor, but that sort of was how all this kind of began through that, and it evolved into that. But if I'm sure you would still be looking for volunteers and
Always.
still need help, how would be best to contact you or
Absolutely.
to get into your program?
Sure. The easiest way is just to call us.
Okay.
At 740-653-5678. We also have a website, afterschoolprogramsoflancaster.org. Our information's on there, and a Facebook page as well. Any of those ways are a real easy way to contact us.
After School Programs of Lancaster.org.
Correct.
And
You Google it, it'll
Sure.
pop up.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of amazing over the years to watch, how it began in just the basement of a church, and now it evolved into that center where your office is located, and now it's into all the schools around. Gosh, it's been pretty rewarding, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of good stories come out of this
Absolutely.
where people have benefited from this.
Absolutely, and not only the children that we service, but their families are so grateful for the ease of the whole situation. Whether it be they don't have any transportation issues. If their kids are there, don't have to worry about that. Parent engagement. We also try to really put our parents and families in touch with other social services in town that they may need or not be aware of. So that's a big part of what we do as well. Parent engagement. I always say parents only. They need to be engaged. Children perform better in school the more engaged their parents are, in my opinion. I've seen it. So that's a very big part of what we do, try to get those parents engaged. There's lots of reasons that parents aren't, maybe they struggled in school and they're just not comfortable in that setting. So, and it's wonderful. We get to see the parents every day too. The school doesn't always get that, so we always have that conversation every night when the parent comes in to pick them up, say, they didn't get this done, they didn't get this completed, or they've had a good day or a bad day. It's really nice to have that contact with the parents so they feel part of their child's education.
Well, we always enjoy talking about the after-school programs in Lancaster, and gosh, we had so much to talk about. I wanted to speak on with Jolynn Pugh of Big Brothers and Big Sisters. We didn't get to do that, but we'll have that for another day, and then we'll have Jolynn too, because I know after-school centers and the Big Brothers, Big Sisters making pairings are partnering, since many of the kids are intersect with the kids
Absolutely.
both of you use. So
Yep,
we'll have you
absolutely.
back to talk about
Great.
that. Good. Michelle Richland with the after-school programs of Lancaster. Google that. You'll find everything you need to know about it. Thank you for joining
Thank
us
you, Paul.
today. Thank you for being with us on Fairfield Today.
Interface Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, and the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities.